For the past few years, I have been obsessed with whitetail hunting. I usually only get out for one hunt a year, and it's usually not very close to home. I haven't really had the opportunity to build up my own whitetail hunting spots. Unfortunately, this year, I finally put in the legwork to do that. I've been working a few spots up north since April. I put out licks, cams, all kind of things. Nailed it down to 2 fantastic spots with lots of action. And then between guiding, all of September and October and just not being home, I'm unfortunately not going to be able to get out for November. But my mind is still absolutely spinning with whitetail stuff. And I've been seeing all these videos pop up about how to deal with the temperatures in late season whitetail hunting. And it made me realize I've never put together a video on these Insoles before, and they are one of the best pieces of late season gear I've ever purchased, so I wanted to share them with you guys. These are heated insoles from a Canadian company called Motion Heat, and in this video I'm going to break down why I think they are the best option to keep your feet warm during late season whitetail hunting. If you could take a moment, if you find this video valuable, and just hit the like button or the subscribe button. On average, 70% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. The more people who watch your videos who are subscribed, the higher up in the algorithm YouTube will push your content. So again, if you find this valuable, hit like, hit subscribe, do a brother a favor, I would greatly appreciate it. Before we dive into why I think these are the best options to keep your feet warm, let's look at some of the other options and pros and cons of those systems. First up, a body heater bag. This is basically like a Cordura sleeping bag that you get inside in your stand or in your blind. They're incredibly warm, lots of insulation, super durable exterior. Some of them have armholes, some of them have arms, but they're basically just like a big tube, super effective at keeping you warm. I've worn them on multiple occasions. It definitely keeps your feet warm. However, I find as an archery hunter, it just limits mobility too much, and getting out of the body heater bag and being able to come to full draw just creates too much movement. And the couple times I tried to do it, I got busted every time. You can wear them just up to your waist, which I think is a potential option, and it keeps your upper body free to take a shot. However, still a pain to hike into the stand with. You got to kind of roll them up in a bag and lash it to your pack. And then once you get up in the stand, you still have all the noise and kind of hustle and bustle of like climbing into it. And if you're in one of those small lone wolf style stands, it can be pretty sketchy trying to hold onto the tree and put your body heater bag. I think for rifle hunters and I think for blinds, they're fantastic. I do not think for like the mobile archery hunter, they're the ideal solution. Up next, some kind of overboot. There's a bunch on the market, heavily insulated, giant boots that you wear over top of your boots. Again, they work, but they're heavy. You got to carry them as extraneous pieces of gear. They're not just going to be on your feet because they're too awkward to hike into the stand with. And again, they're kind of awkward. If you're dealing with a small platform, having these gigantic boots on kind of limits your movement in the stand. Also, it's just another pair of boots that you got to buy. And they're huge. Like I have a size 14 boot, so over boots are like gigantic. So trying to lug those into the stand in the morning is kind of a pain in the ass. And then finally, some kind of cheap battery sock. I've worn a couple, didn't really like them. They're kind of unreliable. And I get kind of nervous wearing a cheap electronic device next to my skin when we're dealing with moisture and different temperatures. So maybe you found a cheap pair that works for you, but in my experience, they just don't work that well. So after looking at all those options, and I live in Canada, so when we're talking late season whitetail, I'm talking like -20, -25 Celsius, -10, -20 Fahrenheit, like legitimate cold temperatures. And so that finally led me to looking for heated insoles. I've been running this particular pair for 2 seasons now. I've tested them in a variety of temperatures and a variety of circumstances. They've held up extremely well. I have 0 complaints with them. So I feel like I am educated enough and experienced enough with this particular product to share my opinion on it. Quick bit of housekeeping before we get into the details. Remember, I have launched Mindful Hunter Outfitting. I now offer archery mule deer hunts in Alberta, kind of late October, and I do any weapon spring black bear hunts in British Columbia. Both completely different styles of hunt. I have the ability to kind of tailor the hunt to the individual. I would greatly like the opportunity to help you build your next Canadian hunting adventure. So if either of those hunts interests you, jay@mindfulhunter.com. Also, if you appreciate unsponsored, unbiased content like I produce at Mindful Reviews, I'd greatly appreciate you consider joining the online community I built. It's an online platform I built from the ground up. We have almost 400 members, thriving forum, and it's a subscription-based service, so the paywall keeps out the trolls, really supportive for new and upcoming hunters, but there's also a lot of vets and a lot of wisdom in the forums to be passed around. So if that's something that you think would interest you or that you could benefit from, I'm going to sweeten the pot just a little bit. If you join between now and December 15th, you will be entered to win my Prime RVX 34 that I killed my coastal black bear with this year, and I've shot it for pretty much the last year. I did a review on it that you can watch right here. And again, if you join before December 15th, you will be entered to win over at mindful-reviews.com. So then, now that I've told you why the other options don't work, why did I choose to go with heated insoles? Number one, they work with your current boots. I really like running Schnee's pack boots. Any pack boot will suffice. Hoffman's makes really good pack boots. I've run those before. Schnee's makes really good pack boots. But I'm talking about rubber bottomed, leather upper, Thinsulate lined, winter hiking boot. They're extremely warm, extremely versatile. I like these because if you've got a big ass hike into your stand, you can still hike in pretty aggressive terrain, no problem in these boots. But they're still warm. So during moderately cold temperatures, they will keep your feet warm without the aid of a heated insole. Also, you can use them on lots of different hunts. Just got back from guiding mule deer in Alberta, wore them out there on my, I think it was 2020 mule deer hunt in Montana. It was like minus 25 degrees Celsius, minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, wore them there. And so not having to buy a new pair of boots and just being able to add a piece of gear to your current system, I think is a real big benefit of using heated insoles. Next up, I like the versatility that heated insoles adds to your system without having to make any in-the-field changes. Like if you're not sure how cold it's gonna be, you just wear them to the stand. If it's cold, you turn them on. If it's not cold, you don't. Whereas you don't have to hike in extra gear, you don't have to wear massive boots and then have your feet sweaty all day because you kind of overpacked for the day or you kind of over-prepared for temperatures that didn't get as cold as you thought it was going to get. So I like the ability to have a versatile system. And then finally, they work in conjunction with the rest of my heated base layer system. So I have the heated core line, which I did a review on that you can watch here from Numa. And I like the fact that I get home every night from the stand. I got 3 sets of batteries I plug in and charge. I go out to the stand next day. I've got a heated base layer top, heated base layer bottoms, and heated insoles for my boots. I turn those on when I start to get cold. Whole body gets warm, turn them all off. It's like a whole system that works synergistically very well together. Now that I'm using the word system, let's actually talk about the system. So I got the custom fit system, which I would highly recommend because then you can use any insoles you like. I really like insoles from Sole, S-O-L-E. Their website is yoursole, S-O-L-E.com. I did a review on Sheep Feet and I did quite an extensive overview of the Sole insoles that you can watch right here. Now the reason I like these insoles is that they have a very stiff heel pocket, they have quite a high arch, and you can get them with an added metatarsal pad. And then you can modify these to fit the heating elements over pad and electrical cord, and then the same insole you're used to wearing in all your other boots now is just a heated version for your own boots. Also allows you to customize the fit perfectly to your boot. However, if you're looking for a more plug-and-play solution, you can get completely constructed kits on their site. So there's essentially 3 elements to the system. Number 1 is the heating element itself. So there's basically a carbon fiber heating element that goes underneath the ball of the foot on the insole. That is connected to this cord. I made a small incision right here in the bottom of the insole, and I fed the cable through here along the bottom of the insole and then I have it coming up the back here. Then I take my Schnee's pack boots and I cut a little hole in the back of the heel of the Thinsulate liner. I take this cord, I feed it through the hole in the Insulate liner, and then it runs up the back of my boot, between my boot and liner, and then the end of the cord comes up out of the back of the boot. You then wear this battery pack around your calf. This cord here attaches to this cord here, and then you have the power button right here. And the nice thing about this power button is there's 3 different settings, and this changes color to let you know how much power is being delivered to the insoles. So pretty basic system. And while we're talking about the different power modes, I want to give you a bit of a pro tip about how to use powered, heated electronic apparel in late season situations. So some people want to turn this on low and just leave it on in the background all day. I would strongly recommend against that. Your body gets used to it after 20 or 30 minutes and you don't even realize that it's on, so it's not really producing that much of a benefit. I have found the more effective way to manage battery life and temperature is to pulse it. So I will turn it on medium for like 20 minutes, my tops, my bottoms, and my insoles. After about 20 minutes, it's brought up my core temperature, it's brought up the temperature of my feet, I'm roasty, toasty, feeling good. At that point, I shut it off. Depending on how cold it is, it takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half for me to start to get cold again. Then I turn everything on for another 20-minute pulse. And if I pulse this all day in really cold late season situations, I can get away with 1 battery pack in each of my devices, no problem. So let's talk about some pros and cons of the system itself. So first up, battery life. As I just mentioned, if you use the battery efficiently, you can get away with 1 battery for all day use, no problem. Next, as I also already mentioned, the custom fit. I love that these are adaptable to your own insoles. I've got some kind of unique foot problems. I'm kind of picky with the insoles that I use. I love the fact that I can use a product that I trust very much and then just adapt it for this late season heated use case. Finally, the quality of construction. Everything about this is built to extremely high standards. Like I said, I've used it for 2 seasons in a row, been pretty aggressive with it as I am with all of my gear, and it has held up extraordinarily well. The battery packs are really high quality. All the wiring makes you feel really safe, even having it next to like sweaty skin. So overall, very pleased with the durability and the build quality. Now, for cons, I wish there was a heated heel element. Right now, they only have a heated element that covers kind of the first third of your foot. It goes underneath your toes and the ball of your foot, and there's no heated element under the rest of your foot. And in extremely cold situations, I did find the heel of my foot kind of got cold and there was very little I could do about it. Now, one tip I will give is always have something between your feet and the ground or your feet and the stand, because the cold coming up from the ground or the cold coming up from the air underneath the metal stand plate will really suck the temperature and the heat right out of the bottom of your feet. So putting down either a piece of foam or a piece of old carpet can really help the bottoms of your feet stay warmer longer. They are a little bulky as well. Like, this is a big thing to kind of have strapped to your calf all day. I wouldn't want to hike around all day with this on. Now, that being said, these do attach and detach with Velcro, so you could put these on if you wanted to after you got to your stand, and it's kind of just something you got to live with. But I did want to note that you are dealing with a significant amount of bulk when you choose to apply a system like this. Also, if you don't get this wire adjusted just right, if it gets twisted in the back and there's a kink in it, it will like annoy the shit out of you all day. So it can be kind of finicky, but once you do get it kind of properly set up, it's extremely comfortable. And then the final drawback is price. I guess I haven't mentioned this yet. They're $225 Canadian, which is about $150 US. That is fairly expensive, but I think for what this adds to your system and the overall quality of the product that you're buying, I do believe that it's worth it. So there you have it. My opinion on what I think is the best overall product to keep your feet warm during late season whitetail hunting. If you've experimented with other products and you've got something you think is better, or if you've used these and you've got some additional feedback or questions, please drop a note down in the comments section below. I would love to carry the conversation on further there. Remember, for any Canadian hunting adventures, jay@mindfulhunter.com. Mindful Hunter Outfitting just launched a couple months ago. Also, if you want to enter to win the Prime RVX34, head on over to mindful-reviews.com. Anyone who joins between now and December 15th will be automatically entered to win. And as always, thank you for tuning in.